Imagine this, you get a small cut. Nothing major, just a little scrape. But it gets infected. You go to the doctor, they prescribe antibiotics, and nothing happens. The infection doesn't go away. It spreads. You're admitted to the hospital. You need IV meds, maybe even surgery. And in a worst-case scenario, that tiny cut becomes life-threatening, not because medicine failed, but because the bacteria learned how to outsmart the drugs. Sounds like science fiction, right? Except it's not. This is antibiotic resistance, and it's one of the most quietly dangerous threats in modern medicine. Not dramatic, not loud, just bacteria doing what they've always done, evolving. And if we don't talk about it and act on it, we could find ourselves in a world where routine infections are deadly again. Welcome back to Pharma-Logic, where medicine meets meaning, and we break down health myths with smart science and zero shame. Today, we're diving into antibiotic resistance. What it is, what causes it, and how you, yes, you, can help stop it. Because the solution doesn't just rest with hospitals or researchers in hazmat suits. It starts with everyday choices, conversations, and a little science know-how. Let's start with the big myth. My body is becoming immune to antibiotics. Nope, not how it works. Your body isn't the one adapting, the bacteria are. Picture this. You're at war with an enemy. You keep using the same weapon. Eventually, they figure out how to dodge it. Maybe they wear armor. Maybe they move faster. Maybe they just stop showing up in the same places. That's bacteria. They're not just sitting around. They're evolving, adapting, and rewriting the rulebook with every exposure to antibiotics. So what is antibiotic resistance really? It's when bacteria develop the ability to survive the drugs that were designed to kill them. Antibiotics at their core are poisons, very targeted ones, aimed at specific bacterial processes like cell wall formation or protein synthesis. They don't kill human cells, but they're lethal to bacteria, until bacteria figure out how to fight back. Here's how. Bacteria reproduce fast. Like really fast. Some double every 20 minutes. And with each new generation there's a chance of mutation. Little genetic typos in the DNA. Most of these mutations don't matter. Some are even harmful. But every now and then, one of those typos makes the bacteria stronger. Resistant. That one mutation survives and it multiplies. Suddenly the antibiotic that used to work doesn't. It gets worse. Bacteria are social little beasts. They can pass around these resistance genes like party favors. Through something called horizontal gene transfer, yes, they basically email genetic cheat codes to their neighbors, resistance spreads even faster. So now you don't just have one superbug, you've got an entire group chat of them. And where do they get all these lovely opportunities to mutate and share their tricks? From us. Overuse and misuse of antibiotics is the #1 driver of resistance. That includes taking antibiotics when you don't need them, like for viral infections. Colds, the flu, most sore throats, all caused by viruses. Antibiotics won't touch them. Giving antibiotics in these cases is like using oven mitts to fix a leaky faucet. Wrong tool, wrong problem, and all you're doing is giving bacteria unnecessary exposure to the drugs. Then there's one of my personal pet peeves, and I say this with love because I've had to tell so many people in my own family this. Stop sharing antibiotics. Seriously, just because your cousin had a sinus infection and gave you the leftovers doesn't mean it's safe or smart or doing you any good. Antibiotics are prescribed for specific infections in specific people at specific doses. Taking someone else's meds is like wearing their prescription glasses and wondering why everything looks blurry. Not helpful. Also, and I cannot stress this enough, it fuels resistance. And don't stop early either. I know, you start to feel better after 3 days, and the last thing you want to do is keep taking those giant tablets that taste like chalky regret. But stopping early is like quitting a boxing match halfway through. You may have knocked out the weak bacteria, but the tough ones are still standing, and now they've got room to multiply. Antibiotic resistance doesn't stay isolated either. These superbugs don't care about borders. They spread through water, food, people, hospitals, even that phone you're probably watching this on. What starts as one resistant infection in one person can spread globally, and fast. That's how we get MRSA, drug-resistant tuberculosis, and those terrifying strains of gonorrhea that laugh in the face of our strongest antibiotics. Here's the really unsettling part. We're not exactly cranking out new antibiotics to keep up. Drug companies aren't lining up to develop them because they're expensive, complicated, and honestly, not that profitable. Think about it. Why invest in a drug people take for 7 to 10 days when you could make a blockbuster med people take every day for life? That's not greed, that's just unfortunate economics. So the pipeline is drying up. The tools we have are the ones we're stuck with, and they're losing their edge. But here's the good news. Antibiotic resistance is a human-made problem, and that means we can do something about it. It starts with smart prescribing. As healthcare professionals, we have to stop handing out antibiotics just to play it safe or to make patients happy. And on the flip side, as patients, we have to stop demanding them like they're magic pills for every sniffle. Spoiler alert, they're not. What else can you do? Ask questions when you're prescribed an antibiotic. Do I really need this? Is this bacterial or viral? Don't save leftovers. Don't take your mum's pills. Don't stop early. Don't stockpile them like canned food for the apocalypse. And please, don't flush them down the toilet either. That's a different public health nightmare. Also, get vaccinated. When you prevent infections, like pneumonia, flu, or whooping cough, you lower your chance of ever needing antibiotics in the first place. The less we need them, the longer they'll keep working. And let's not forget food. Around 2/3 of all antibiotics globally are used in agriculture, often not to treat sick animals, but to make them grow faster or prevent possible illness. That kind of use also breeds resistance, and yes, it trickles back to humans through the food chain and the environment. So if you're in a position to do so, supporting antibiotic-responsible farming is another small but powerful way to make a difference. The truth about antibiotic resistance is that it's already here. It's not something coming, it's something happening. And unless we change how we use antibiotics, as doctors, as patients, and as a society, we risk going backwards, back to a time when a paper cut could turn deadly. When childbirth, surgery, or a tooth extraction came with real risk. That's not fear-mongering, that's reality. But we're not powerless, and honestly, that's the part that gives me hope. Because if we created this problem through overuse, we can also solve it with better use. Through awareness, through smarter decisions, through respect for the medicines we once considered miracles and still should. Thanks for watching. If this helped clear up some myths, or reminded you not to borrow your tears leftover antibiotics, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe for more pharmacist-informed, myth-busting health content every Friday at 5 p.m. MST, and drop your questions or rants in the comments. Have you ever been handed someone else's antibiotics like it was a casual thing? Because same. Let's talk about it. Take care of yourself, take care of your microbes, and please, stop sharing your antibiotics like Halloween candy. It truly is a pet peeve of mine.